Yeah, yeah. I'm living my best life. Made a couple M's, you know. Said I'm living my best life. Said I'm living my best life.
Hello. Welcome back, you guys. You know what channel you're at. Is Random Opinions, Reaction and Reviews. It's your girl. It's me, TT Tiara. I'm coming to you today to do a random opinion, my reaction, and my review on Empire, the season finale. So it's season 5, episode 18. It's called The Roughest Days. Now, I want to get into my opinion first. My opinion is that I just wasn't overall satisfied with yesterday's episode. I felt like they had this big workup, this big layout to somebody, a major character dying in the casket. And remember, they said major character. And we've been trying to figure out who was in the casket since the earlier half of season 5, months and months ago. Now, we finally figured it out a couple episodes prior to the season finale. So I can't say I was too shocked. That's one reason why I am disappointed. I wasn't shocked. Like, we all figured it out. You know, if you go on YouTube, everybody has their ideas, and it just became clear how they were going to write this storyline. Now, like I said, when I was watching, once they brought Kingsley into the mix, I thought, you know, with them saying, oh, it's a major character, that it was going to be Kingsley. But they started shifting the focus on Andre, and then I was like, had my mixed feelings by the way they was writing it, and I was like, yes, Andre. Then I was like, no, it's not Andre. Then I was like, yes, it's Andre. Then I was like, no, it's not Andre. And then with Hakeem, just overall disappointed. This is my number 2 reason, that Brightshear Gray didn't really have that much of screen time on this season, and I think that was a reason. Now, guys, work with me here. Now, remind you, Jussie Smollett, when this whole thing popped off with, you know, the Chicago and this possibly being a hoax and everything like that, I really feel like, you guys, that Hakeem probably would have been the one to die and be in the casket. I really feel like that was how it was wrote. But with Jussie Smollett having to be written off the script, you know, that was already a main character that they had to get rid of. So they couldn't get rid of another major character. So I feel like this is why Brightshear didn't have a huge screen time in this half of the season. Out of sight is out of mind. I'm telling you guys, I think he was the one that was going to be going. And I seen somewhere online where they said that they like pretty much changed. Remember, they said when this whole thing happened and they was writing Jussie Smollett out of the last 4 episodes, they said that they had to, like, the writers had to go and rewrite some things. I'm thinking Hakeem was the one that was in the casket, you guys, but they couldn't get rid of another character. So I just was overall disappointed. Now, I'm gonna get into my number 3 reason why I was disappointed as I further talk about how the episode played out. So the first scene, we have Andre's being rushed to the hospital. Well, Andre is at the hospital. They have him on the gurney. He is pretty much just in cardiac arrest. Now, we know in real life, they wouldn't have been able to save this character at all. Reason being is because if Andre's heart was as bad as they saying his heart was, there was no way they'd be able to shock him and bring his rhythm back. No way. I'm just saying, I just don't think there is no way. But this is fantasy, and we can indulge in a little fantasy when we're watching TV shows. So he flatlines. He goes asystole. And they shock him. They're not bringing him back. So Cookie, you know, they're getting ready to call it, the doctors. They're getting ready to call it. Cookie and Lucius says, shock him one more time. Shock him. Now, I don't know if you guys know, but I'm actually trying to transition into the medical field. I'm about to graduate from nursing school. And I've learned in nursing school that when a loved one is dying, especially like in a critical event like that where they have to resuscitate, they usually have the family there to witness the process because it helps them with grieving and coping, because they're able to see that everything was done in order to save their family member, so they don't blame the medical staff. Now, back in the day, I guess, when they used to take the family away when they were reviving a patient, and that patient they would code, and that patient would die anyway, the family would blame the staff, and they just felt like there was no closure. Well, if you have the family watching and seeing exactly what happens to revive these patients, they have a bit of a closure, and it helps them with their grief. It helps them in the grieving process that they go through, and it helps them with coping. So it completely made sense to me why Cookie and Lucius was there. And that last shock, let's be honest, the doctors only did that last shock on Andre to satisfy Cookie and Lucius. Like I said, it's all about when a loved one is dying, which I'm pretty sure in the doctor's head, they thought Andre was a goner. So when a loved one is dying, you want to kick in and you want to be there for the family. You want to help the family with coping. So that last shot they did for closure for Cookie and Lucius, because if Andre hadn't come back, at least they would have known that everything was done to resuscitate him. He just was already gone. So they do this last shot. Andre miraculously comes back, right? And he's clearly fighting for his life. He needs a heart like now. We have all the family that's there. Only somebody is missing. Jamal is missing. And it's because Jamal, remember, he went on a honeymoon and he's unable to get back. The weather is really bad where he's at, so they're not allowing anybody to leave the airport. We have Hakeem there. Hakeem is just in the background, quiet. To me, he served no purpose. He barely had lines. I'm like, okay, he's just there. Cookie is pissed. She is mad at Lucius. She feels like Lucius pretty much was better off killing Andre, because that's the way she feels. She feels like Lucius stepped in, and even though Andre was about to take those pills, to her, it's like Lucius was killing Andre, So she is mad at him, like, you tried to kill my baby. You know how Cookie is about her sons. Like, she is pissed. Like, you tried to kill my son. Like, I don't think Cookie's going to be able to come back from that. Y'all already see throughout this episode she's been struggling to be with Lucius. And now we see this is another reason to bring her and Lucius apart. So, Carol, Candace, and Cookie, they're all sitting in the hospital. And, is it Carol? Yeah, Carol who's played by Tasha Smith, was telling Cookie, like, Lucius loved that boy. He was trying to be a good father. And Candace and Cookie both say, shut up, Carol. But let's be honest, Carol been spitting some straight facts to Cookie. Like, she been giving some good advice. I don't know how a crackhead can give so much good advice. Like, the woman, remember, she's a crackhead, but apparently she's smart enough to know, one, you're not supposed to be crying in another man's arms when you're married, and then two, she knew that Lucius did this for Andre because he loved Andre and he was just trying to be a good father. But it's like, whenever somebody is giving that good advice, that person don't want to hear it. They just don't want to hear it. So Cookie's not trying to hear that. She's pretty much done in her mind with Lucius. She don't want to hear anything good about him. Cookie is hurt. She's distraught. She's not blaming Andre, but she just doesn't understand why Andre couldn't come to her and tell her, what was going on. She's mad at Andre, but she can't take it out on him because Andre's the one that's struggling right now. Kingsley is there. Kingsley is trying to be there to be a big brother and show some support, but nobody wants him there. Cookie don't want him there, Andre is the only one besides Lucius that's been accepting of him, and Andre's, pretty much on his deathbed. So, I mean, it's not like Andre can be the voice of reason to the rest of the family because he's the one in the hospital. Hakeem pretty much said some hurtful stuff. I didn't agree with what Hakeem did, but I get it. He's young, he's the baby, and he's just and plus Kingsley did some messed up stuff to their family and to their company, but it's all done out of hurt. And I feel like Hakeem should understand that, because he did some messed up stuff to Lucius because he was hurt. We don't have to go over the stuff that he did out of hurt because of Lucius. It's a long list. So, Hakeem should be able to understand it. And remember, Hakeem took Empire away from Lucius at one point. So it's not a stretch to say Kingsley's mad at his dad and he tries to flush Empire into the ground, into the toilet. You know what I'm saying? It's not. I feel like he should completely understand, but apparently he don't. So he tells him, like, you're not family. I don't want you here. Kingsley decides to take Lucius out and get away from the family because Cookie is not feeling Lucius right now. She just don't even want to see him. So they go out and they're walking, they're talking, and Lucius is reminiscing about Andre, and he mentions that Andre, he just knew his firstborn was going to be a son, and he was talking about Andre when he said it, and I caught it right away. I'm like, oh no, Lucius, you have to acknowledge to your actual firstborn son that you see him as your firstborn son. So now, I caught Kingsley's face when Lucius said that, but Lucius didn't, because Lucius, his mind is boggled. It's everywhere. Andre, the eldest son that he knew of since birth, that has always come through for him and risked his life for him. And Andre's done a lot of stuff for Lucius. We know he's tried to kill him at one point, but he's also done a lot of stuff to help Lucius. Lucius wouldn't be as big as he is today without Andre. So he is reasonably torn up that, he could possibly lose his son. But at the same time, Kingsley is going through his things, and Kingsley just wants the love of his father. That's all he wants. He don't know, because he didn't grow up with Lucius, so he don't really know Lucius like that, and he's just trying to be there for his family. But they clearly they're not used to him. They don't know him enough to even let him in. So then Kingsley goes to White Tracy, and he tells White Tracy that Andre is really sick. He needs a heart. White Tracy asks Kingsley, how do you know that? Have you been around them? You listening to Lucius, and I've told you that he didn't want us. He didn't, just everything negative she's putting into this boy's head. Everything negative, And then she messed around and says, Lucius once gave me $200 to give you an abortion. I should have did it. You don't tell a kid that. There's just certain stuff you just don't tell. You shouldn't tell a kid that. And this is why I know that Kingsley is so messed up right now, because his mother is telling him one thing, his dad is barely paying attention to him, and then his brother is dying. His other brothers don't want to have nothing to do with him. His life is all in shambles. He's lost everything since he messed up Empire. He's rich, he still has money, but he doesn't have any family, he doesn't have any friends, he doesn't have anything. So apparently, because we didn't get a chance to see this, apparently Kingsley is going through major depression at this point. His life is just he has so many questions, and this brings up a third point of why I was not satisfied with this episode. This episode was so rushed. This whole season has been so rushed. We haven't had the time to see people evolve and come in. We haven't had the chance to see why people make decisions that they make. It just jumps to, oh, then this happened, then that happened. It's hold on, when did that happen? Take it back. Where did that come from? So then Kingsley goes to Lucius and he says, Dad, not even Pop. He didn't even call him Lucius. He says, Dad, I need to talk. And Lucius is just being Lucius. He's handling things in Empire. He's trying to, I guess, get some numbers together for the tour that they were doing. He's working. He's trying to be oriented to keep his mind off of what's going on with Andre, clearly. But, he's not equipped to understand what's going on with his eldest son because he doesn't know his eldest son like that. They don't have that connection that him and Andre do. So, Kingsley pulls out a gun. He just snaps. He pulls out a gun. This is why I said we didn't even have the chance to see this man evolve. We didn't have the chance to see why he's doing what he's doing. Now, 1 minute he's trying to get to know the family. The next minute he's pulling out a gun on Lucius. And Lucius tells him, just because Lucius is Lucius, he tells him, look, if you're going to pull out that gun, you better be ready to use it. All my lion sons, all my sons, they know that. If you a lion, you better use a gun if you're going to pull it out. And which Lucius has said that. That is his motto. If you're going to pull out a gun, you better use it. And once again, Kingsley don't know Lucius well enough to know certain things that Lucius says and certain things, you know what I'm saying? Me, it's certain things my mom can say, I understand. Especially if she said in a tone of voice, and I'm to people that don't know my mom, they might say she's rude, but me, it's oh, I know my mom, she meant it this way. And they're like, how did you get that out of what she just said? Because she clearly said it this way, and that's what it is. Kingsley hasn't figured out Lucius yet. So to him, it's Lucius is just shunning him and he's not paying attention to him, And so Lucius tells him I don't think Lucius knew where Kingsley was mentally. So Kingsley pulls out a gun on Lucius and was like, am I lying enough for you now, Dad? And Lucius, he don't even care. Lucius, you know how many times Lucius had a gun pulled out on him? That don't faze him. Come on, people. Writers, write something different. Of course it wasn't going to faze him. But in that moment, Kingsley was just scared and he was just reaching out to his dad. His dad wasn't reaching back, And so Lucius was like, you know what? I don't even care. Shoot me in the head. Don't miss. You better shoot me right here. This is what Lucius is saying, not me. God, I don't want this to happen to me. He's saying, you better get me right here. And then after that, you make sure my son gets my heart. And he said, my son gets my heart. He put an emphasis on my, and I just know that killed Kingsley on the inside. And he was like, because all sons deserve to have their father. And Kingsley's like, you right, Dad. All sons do deserve to have their father. And then he kills himself. Now, like I said, I knew this was going to happen. But this brings up my fourth reason why I was not happy with Empire today. They killed off a character that could have been great. I don't know why the writers do this. I'm supposed to believe y'all bought Kingsley on this show just to kill him off so Andre can get him hurt. What was the point of even writing any of this if you were just going to kill him off the way you killed him off? Fifth reason why I'm not happy with today's episode. They killed Kingsley off without giving him closure. The man, all he wanted was closure. Now, if they had wrote this storyline saying that, Kingsley really wanted to contribute to the family and he really wanted to show the family that he was here for the long haul and that he really wanted to be a lion and that he understood why things happened the way they happened and he wanted to be a good brother to his other siblings, I could see him shooting himself then and sacrificing himself for the greater good of his brothers. That's what I wanted to happen. I wanted him to sacrifice himself for the greater good of his brothers. I wanted him to have this moment where he sees that, the lions actually look after family. And then he gets this moment where he's like, well, this is what it is to be a lion. I have to look after my brothers. I have to look after my dad. I'm the older sibling because Andre is like this. Kid you not. Andre gives his last for his dad, his mom, his siblings. I thought that Kingsley was going to have that moment too and realize, what I have is not worth living for, but I can give something for my brother. My brother's expecting a new baby. I have nothing, so I'm going to sacrifice myself for the greater good of him so that he can live his life with his baby. No, they had him go into some jealous rage, major depression and not get any closure. You know, he just wanted to know if he would ever be accepted as a lion's son. And he didn't get that closure. He was just lost this whole time because his mother was playing games with him on one end, and his father, he didn't know to trust him because he didn't know his father well enough. I'm just disappointed with how they wrote this episode. You know, if you're going to take out a character that could be promising, at least give him some doggone closure. Are you serious? The way it killed him was just, I didn't like it at all. So he kills himself. And Lucia's like, no. He kills himself. And then we see Lucius go to the hospital, signs off so that Kingsley's heart can go to Andre. Another thing that I don't like about this storyline. Your son just killed himself. And you don't even grieve him. Not even a little bit. You know, like, what's up with that? You know, I just did not like that. Like, he killed himself and you didn't really grieve him. Like, right after he killed himself, there was really no tears. It's like, oh, this is the way to save Andre. What? This is your son, Lucius. Really? Did not like that at all. So he signs off so that Kingsley can get his heart. So when he gets there, after washing his blood off his hands, you know, Cookie saying, like, what happened? What you do? And then, you know, Lucius is like, we have a heart for Andre. They get to the hospital. They get there, and Andre's not even prepped for surgery. He's like, what's going on? So he finds out White Tracy just stepped in and said, he can't have his heart. This is my son. You killed my son so that your son with Cookie could live? Are you serious, Lucius? And Lucius like, I didn't touch that boy. That boy was distraught. He was messed up because things you told him, which Lucius is right. White Tracy did a number on Kingsley, and I feel like that ultimately led to his demise. If you can't even trust the person that's raised you all your life, then what do you have? You know, the person that's raised you all your life gives you a sense of identity. And he couldn't even really trust his mom. You know, and she said some pretty hurtful things to him till he felt like it was over, you know. So Cookie tells Lucius, go in there, I'll talk to White Tracy. She talks to White Tracy. Right, Tracy, let me tell you guys, I thought she was going to budge and say, yes, get his heart. No. She says, no. Let me go in and hold, because Cookie's crying. She's distraught. Please let my son have his heart. Please, 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 please. And she's like, no, I should be in there holding my son's hand instead of worrying about your son, you know. And so Cookie just backed off. She was sad. She was distraught. She was crying, you know, hurt. And she is sitting at Andre's bedside and she's asking God, why? Why are you trying to take my baby from me? You know, everybody has questions. Everybody questions God. I feel like there's nothing wrong with questioning God because he can probably provide you with an answer if you have an ear willing to hear, you know. And while she's there questioning God and saying, really, God, you're going to take my baby from me? White Tracy comes. She has to change her heart. But that change of heart is not going to be cheap. She already lets them know it's going to be very expensive. And I don't even think she's talking about money. I think she's going to, next season, she's going to bring down wrath. Her son is gone now. She's going to bring down wrath. And let's not forget, Kingsley was rich. So I'm pretty sure she inherited all of his money. You know, so she's really not going to need their money. But I think she's definitely going to make them pay. What else? We have Devon and Tiana. They do a musical number. And Andre gets married. How could I forget that? He gets married with a little fake candy ring. And he's happy. And I feel like this is going to be a reboot for Andre's life. His whole life, these whole seasons of Empire, Andre's been struggling. Nothing's good has ever come to him. And so now I feel like things are definitely going to turn in Andre's favor. So we'll see what happens next season with that. But while Devon and Tiana are doing their number on stage, they have the music overplaying the scene of Andre and Terry getting married, and everybody's there except for Jamal, of course. And it just wasn't the same to me, just because usually when there's something meaningful going on in a scene, they always have Jussie's voice, his music overplaying it, and I've just gotten used to that, and this is why I say they cannot let Jussie go, because he is the music. We have this Fed woman. Now, this Fed woman is getting on my nerves. What's her name? Conway. Lucius is the only one there to lay Kingsley to rest. I'm trying to figure out where White Tracy at. I'm trying to figure out where everybody else at. You know, like somebody kills themselves. And Andre inherited his heart. You'd think that the rest of the family would be there, but I guess not. This is what I say. The episode was rushed. Like, I'm assuming all of this stuff happened over a span of 1 or 2 weeks, but the way the episode was wrote, it was just like, with everything happened within a day, and I'm pretty sure you can't plan a funeral within a day. So it just was too rushed for my liking. Like, I just hate that they rushed everything. We don't like things to be too slow, but we don't like things to be rushed either. So Lucius says his goodbyes to Kingsley, and he gives Kingsley this flash drive with his music on it and tells him to take the music with him. That was a sad scene, just because you should have gave this boy his flowers while he was alive. You should have been singing his praises, and you should have got to know him a little bit better. You know, you should have been on your knees every day saying, hey son, I didn't know you, you know, let's make things work now. Let's try to get this. But, you know, it just didn't happen that way. So then the FBI comes in while they're laying Kingsley to rest, and she pretty much shows Lucius these pictures of Damon Cross with Cookie, and she pretty much got Lucius aroused. He was ready to jump on her, but he like, Lucius is a straight G, so he told her, you know what, I don't know why you coming in my face with these manufactured pictures that you've cropped. You can get out my face. I'm not gonna say anything. You want me to flip? It's not gonna happen. But when he got away from that woman, so he was ready to go kill Damon Cross, and thank God for Thirsty. Thirsty talked him out of it. And so then he decides he's going to go out of town for a couple days, get his head cleared. He wants to take Cookie. Cookie tells him, you know what, I can't do this anymore. Whole time when I got out of prison, I said I wanted half my company, when all I wanted was 100% of you. And this season we've seen Lucius has given his all to his family, to Cookie. It's just right now you can't erase everything that's happened in prior seasons, prior years, and I just feel like Cookie's at her breaking point, to the fact that it doesn't matter how much good Lucius does, it's still not enough. So Cookie's just ready to bounce. She tells him, you know what, because he like, look, I'm ready to take you. Let's go away. Get away for a couple days. I don't know why he thought that Cookie was going to flee the country and go with him for a couple days and leave Andre. It just wasn't gonna happen. I don't know how in his head he thought that was gonna happen. But he tells Cookie, like, let's go. She's like, no, I can't do this. I'm tired of this. I'm tired. She's crying. She tells him, you know what? And it's funny because Lucius is like, this Fed lady been working real hard. She's manufactured some pictures between you and Damon Cross, trying to get me to believe that y'all slept together, you know? And Cookie just tells him, look, I slept with him. You know, she's like, you know, I cheated on you with Damon Cross to get him off her back, because she didn't want to go with him, and she's really trying to cut ties with him, you know. And I don't think she was strong enough to just do it, so she had to tell a lie to get this to happen. Now, we all know that she didn't sleep with Damon Cross, so like I said, she had to tell a lie to get this man off her back, to leave her alone, because I don't think Lucius is strong enough to handle infidelity. So he falls back and he's in tears, you know, and Cookie leaves, and he watches the car leave, and he gets on the jet and he leaves, you know. And we just really didn't see much from Hakeem this season, this episode. It's just a sad episode all the way around. The only person I feel like that's got somewhat some closure, something good happening out of all the characters on this show is Andre. You know, Cookie and Lucius may be breaking up. You know, we got the feds after Lucius, which that brings me to another point. The feds meet with Damon Cross, and well, Damon Cross is actually in the feds office when she comes back after meeting with Lucius, trying to get him to fold, and that didn't happen. So Damon offers her 20 mil to drop whatever investigation she has on him and to go about her life and live a good one. She says, no, give me Lucius. He says, I'll give you Lucius. And so she's like, oh, so I see you're going to want to work with me because you want to get his wife. So they put out some plan to get Lucius. And then next she says, I'll get Lucius this year and then the 20 mil next year. So I guess she's just going to leave him alone and take the money. But she really wants Lucius. So that leads me to believe that this is personal and something has happened. We'll figure that out, I guess, next season on what's happening. But overall, not satisfied with the way this episode was wrote. Like, I feel like last season they wrote the episode so perfect. It was a perfect ending that Empire could have ended completely on the last episode of the 4th season, because they wrote it just perfectly, where Cookie ended up getting married to Lucius. That's all she ever wanted. You know, Hakeem finds out Tiana is pregnant. Jamal is off in London, and then we have Andre, and you know, he has somewhat a good ending. But this season they wrote everything tragic. We have Cookie and Lucius breaking up. We have Jamal, like, he's not tragic, but we know in real life it is. He probably might not come back to Empire. But Jamal, he's on his honeymoon. Hakeem and Tiana are still broken up. And the only person that's kind of got a turnaround of events is Andre, because he has a new life now, and he has a new wife, and he has a baby on the way. So I'm happy for him in that aspect. I'm just not happy with overall episode. So I want to know how you guys feel about this episode. I'm not saying it was a bad episode. I just feel like everything was rushed, and they gave these characters too much of a tragic event this episode, minus Andre. So like I said, like, I wish they could have, if they were going to bring on a new character, especially a lion like Kingsley, they could have wrote it a little bit better instead of bringing on a new character just to kill himself to give Andre a heart. It was a waste of my time, my thoughts, my energy, my effort. Once again, let me know below in the comments how you guys felt about today's episode. If you got a kick out of watching the episode, or what you would change. I want to know, if you guys had to pick, who would you have put in the casket? Who are you guys tired of on Empire? Let me know, and I will see you guys later. Bye.
I finally made my mind, know that I can't go back broke. They saying that my time up, my back against the rope. I hustle, got my grind, know that